This video, we will talk about order of operations. Order of operations are usually introduced with the acronym Pemdas. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. P stands for parentheses, but as you progress throughout mathematics, you'll start to recognize or realize that it's not just parentheses that should get your attention first, but parentheses, brackets, or braces. So any grouping symbols should get your attention first. Then E is exponents, M multiplication, V division, A addition, and S subtraction. Now, even though we have 6 letters, there are only 4 levels or 4 tiers of operations. P is first, that's the first level. Your exponent, second level. Multiplication and division are on the same level, so you do those from left to right. And then on the last level, the 4th level, is addition and subtraction. You do them from left to right as well. So here I'd like to do a simple example before we actually get into it. 18 divided by 9 times 2. If you go in the order of the lettering, you would jump to multiplication first. So 9 times 2 would be 18, then 18 divided by 18 is 1. So that actually is incorrect. I like to do an example like this just to show you that if you come down with a solid number, that does not mean you have a right answer. You actually do addition and multiplication from left to right as you see it in the problem. So the first one we do is division. 18 divided by 9 is 2, and then we have 2 times 2, which is 4. That would be the way you would properly calculate that problem. So let's do a few of them. Direction could just be simplified. In this first one, we have negative 12 minus 6 times 7 minus 5. So parentheses, you do what's in the parentheses first. 7 minus 5 is 2. Then we have negative 12 minus 6 times 2. So 6 times 2 is 12. So we have negative 12 minus 12. Don't forget, that's negative 12 plus a negative 12, which will give you negative 24. Next one, we have 3 squared minus 10 squared divided by negative 1 minus 4. So what's in the parentheses is negative 1 minus 4 that gets our attention first. Negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5. After that, we will do the exponents. 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9. 10 squared, 10 times 10, which is 100, excuse me. Then we have 9 minus 100 divided by negative 5. Next thing we will do is the division. So negative 100 divided by negative 5 will give you a positive 20. And then finally, 9 plus 20 is 29. Next one, we have 1 over 30 minus negative 1/3 squared times 3/5. The first thing that will get our attention is the exponent. What's in the parentheses is not what we want to do. We don't want to divide that out and get a decimal. So we're going to go ahead and square this negative 1/3. Be careful, this negative to a negative is not going to take place because the square is stopping these negatives from being applied to each other. We have to first apply the square, and then we'll look to see if we have a negative applied to another negative. But what happens here, we have a negative 1/3 times a negative 1/3 because of the square. That'll give me a positive 1/9. So now there isn't a double negative here. So we have 1 over 30 minus 1 over 9 times 3 over 5. So we will do the multiplication next. The 3's will cancel. We have a 3 that's in our numerator and a 3 that's in our denominator, and this 9. They will cancel out, leaving me with a 1 here and a 3 down here. So on top, we have 1 times 1, which is 1. 3 times 5 is 15. Now all we have left is 1 over 30 minus 1 over 15. Don't forget, whenever adding or subtracting fractions, you need a common denominator. That common denominator would be the 30. So I multiply top and bottom by 2 to convert that to a fraction with the denominator 30. So it's 1 over 30 minus 2 over 30. And that will give me negative 1 over 30. Another example, here we have 3 minus the quantity of negative 6 minus the quantity of 5 minus 7. Whenever you have multiple grouping symbols or grouping symbols embedded in other grouping symbols, you do the innermost first and work your way out. So you go inside, that'll be 5 minus 7 first. That 5 minus 7 will be negative 2. Here we have a negative to a negative. That will turn positive, so that'll be negative 6 plus 2. Still inside of our grouping symbols, you want to simplify what's inside of your grouping symbols as much as possible before you go outside of it. Negative 6 plus 2 will give you a negative 4. Grouping symbols, brackets are the same as parentheses. We have a negative to a negative. That turns positive. So you have 3 plus 4, and that'll give you 7 as your final answer. Next one, we have the absolute value. These are absolute value symbols. They're not brackets. No, the brackets have these pieces that come into to encase. There you go. Encase the problem. Absolute values just have straight lines. So we have absolute value of -7 plus 3 minus 9 over 3 minus 2 times 4. So what we're going to do is simplify the numerator separately, simplify the denominator separately, and bring them together. So looking at our numerator, we have -7 plus 3 inside of the absolute value symbols. That'll be a -4. Don't forget the absolute value of anything will be the positive number. So we have the absolute value of -4. That'll give me a +4. 4 minus 9 is -5. So that's what it'll be up on top. Then we go to our denominator, 3 minus 2 times 4. Do your multiplication first. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 minus 8 is -5. So we have -5 over -5. That will simplify the +1. Okay, one more. We have 64 divided by -4 times 2 divided by -16. Don't forget, multiplication and division will be executed from left to right. So even though it seems that we should do -4 times 2 first, we're actually going to do division first. We do it from left to right. So that's 64 divided by -4, which is -16. Then we have that multiplication of 2, so that'll be -16 times 2, which is -30. Then -30, I said -30, excuse me, -32, sorry about that. Then -32 divided by -16 will give you a +2 as a final answer. So once again, we recognize that this sets us up to go from left to right, division and multiplication. So 64 divided by -4 will give you -16. Then we have this multiplication of 2. -16 times 2 is -32. Then -32 divided by -16 will give you a +2. Let me know if you have any questions.